what is very clear at the commercial bar then and now is that they are looking for academic excellence. They want the brightest lawyers emerging from universities. I'm keen to stress non-Oxbridge because it would be very unfair to say that there is any bias towards Oxbridge. In fact, I think if anything the contrary might be true in many sets. But there is a demand that they be very, very good academic lawyers. The problem then is being an academic lawyer doesn't necessarily translate into being a good practical lawyer, still less being a good advocate. And therefore pupillage is about, one assumes that they are top in their year, how do they apply that in practice? But that means it doesn't matter where they're from, it doesn't matter what accent they've got, it doesn't matter if they've got a regional accent, it doesn't matter whether they're from Liverpool or Wales, it's the content of what they say that matters. Do I want to deliver a gilded script? No, because it's never that good in the first place, frankly. Do I want to get to address all the points? Yes, but I've tabbed up what the points are, so I know what I've got to get through. If I don't get through them all, maybe because the judge has already accepted half of them. But the issue is, and this is why one never minds departing from one script, is that when people always say, who's your opponent? And I always say, the judge. The judge is the opponent, because she is the one you've got to convince, not the other side's barrister. So as long as I've convinced him or her, I don't care how I got there. I say this to the juniors when I get taken on in chambers. I said, and it sometimes happens in pupillage when they're faltering slightly. They're brilliant, but it's not coming across because they're trying to be something they're not. And the trick is, I always say to them, to be yourself. There's no preconception. If you go over the road of the court, every barrister's got a different style. Some are incredibly elegant and slick. I sadly am not one of them. And there are others who are just sort of bombastic bluffers. I'm a great believer that the bar is horses for courses. Different cases require different people. So I always tell people, just be yourself. So in these chambers, Paul McGrath is from Liverpool, I'm very proud of it. He sounds very Liverpudlian and makes no concessions for for these Londoners on the bench. He's just who he is. And one's got to admire that. And why should he change? So I always say to people, they've got to find their own voice. Back then, there was a sense that the inn was just there. And if one left to go to Manchester, why would you ever go back to Lincoln's Inn? Where now I think the inn is much more attuned to the idea that it has to maintain that contact and encourage people to get involved in a way that it didn't do, say, 20 years ago. People who did not feel, who looked at it and saw the bench as all men of a certain geriatric age, who thought, what's that got to offer me? And they wouldn't get involved. Where now they're thinking, well, actually, I do want to do things for the inn, either for the students or for other areas. And it's healthy to get a more diverse support base, rather than just people who treat it as a dining club.